Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter Angie Stone has died in a car accident in Montgomery County.
Clive Davis, legendary record producer and music industry mogul, has been found guilty of the unthinkable, the murder of singer Angie Stone. In a trial that has rocked the music world, Clive Davis has been handed a life sentence for the abominable crime. But why would Davis commit such a heinous act? Join us as we unravel the chilling details. The music world is mourning a heartbreaking loss. Angie Stone, a legendary singer, songwriter, and a true pioneer for women in hip-hop, tragically lost her life in a car accident in Montgomery, Alabama, on the morning of Saturday, March 1, 2025. She was 63 years old. Her daughter, Diamond Stone, shared the devastating news on social media with a short but powerful message: "My mom has passed away." Just hours before, she had asked for prayers, hoping for strength in a moment of deep sorrow. The accident occurred when the van Stone was riding in flipped over. Out of the 9 people in the vehicle, she was the only one who did not survive. Investigators are still working to understand what led to the crash, leaving many with questions and heavy hearts. Angie Stone's influence on the music industry was profound. She began her journey in the late 1970s as a member of The Sequence, one of the first all-female hip-hop groups. Their hit song Funk You Up became a milestone in hip-hop history, making waves on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart. But Stone was not just a hip-hop artist. Her love for music led her to R&B, where she found even greater success. Songs like No More Rain in This Cloud and Wish I Did Not Miss You touched the hearts of millions. With her rich, soulful voice and deeply emotional lyrics, she told stories of love, pain, resilience, and life's struggles. She was nominated for 3 Grammy Awards, proving just how much she meant to the industry and her fans. Angie Stone's talents were not limited to music. She also made her mark in Hollywood, showcasing her natural charisma on the big screen. She starred in The Hot Chick alongside Rob Schneider, Rachel McAdams, and Anna Faris. The following year, she appeared in The Fighting Temptations with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Beyoncé, proving her versatility as an entertainer. News of her passing sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Tributes poured in from fellow artists, fans, and those who had the privilege of working with her. Raheem, a member of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, reflected on her groundbreaking contributions to hip-hop and how her influence shaped the industry. Angie Stone was more than just a singer. She was a storyteller, a pioneer, and a woman who broke barriers. Her music will continue to inspire generations, and her voice, both in song and spirit, will never be forgotten. There are conspiracies going around, as many have different sayings to it, in regards to Stone's death. But what are these conspiracies? How deep are they? Are they facts or myths? Let's find out. The unexpected death of Angie Stone in a car crash has made waves in the music industry. However, new information coming to light is prompting speculation about the true nature of her demise. Initially thought to be a tragic accident on the road, the story now includes unsettling clues, questionable events, and accusations of corruption within the music business. Is it possible that Stone's passing was not accidental but instead a planned effort to silence her? Upon further investigation, troubling discrepancies have come to light. While initial reports blamed the crash on brake failure, a forensic examination of the vehicle indicates otherwise. Specialists uncovered irregularities in the brakes that indicate potential tampering. This revelation alone prompts serious doubts as to whether the incident was simply a mishap or a deliberate act. Even more worrisome is the fact that Stone passed away shortly before the accident. According to reports, she was looking into financial inconsistencies in the music business in the days leading up to the crash. A friend of hers disclosed that she had been diligently keeping track of missing royalties and other financial improprieties. If she was close to revealing a large-scale fraudulent scheme, could her death have been a deliberate attempt to quiet her down? Evidence obtained from Stone's personal cloud storage adds a new layer of complexity to the situation. One of the items found was an audio recording of her challenging a high-ranking individual in the industry regarding missing money. In the recording, she voiced her discontent with uncollected royalties and mentioned her plan to pursue legal recourse. This dialogue happened just 72 hours prior to the accident, heightening the mystery surrounding her unexpected demise. Legal proceedings have recently shown that Stone was getting ready to take on influential individuals in the music industry with a significant legal case. According to witnesses who collaborated with her before her death, she appeared to be careful, organized, and fully conscious of the dangers associated with her mission for the truth. Before her untimely passing, she had set up meetings with reporters, set to take place shortly after her demise, during which she intended to unveil substantial evidence demonstrating the systemic financial manipulation of artists. Had she survived, her disclosures had the potential to greatly impact the industry. One of the most unsettling findings was found in Stone's private messages. Before she passed, she reached out to friends and expressed concern about her safety. During a chat with a trusted friend, she revealed that she had been threatened numerous times to halt her investigation. She chillingly said, "If something happens, make sure to dig deep into it." It was clear that she was not being paranoid but truly felt that her life was at risk. The crash location is also contributing to suspicions as investigators pointed out that the route Stone was on that night was isolated, with limited surveillance and very vulnerable. According to a previous law enforcement officer, this particular location could have been intentionally chosen for an orchestrated accident, suggesting that Stone may have been lured into a vulnerable situation deliberately. In the current case involving unidentified individuals, the prosecution has portrayed a troubling scenario of the circumstances preceding Stone's demise. A financial expert with expertise in entertainment law stated that the activities Stone was looking into may have involved several top executives and industry figures in a fraudulent scheme worth billions of dollars in mishandled royalties. It is plausible to think that influential parties were motivated to conceal her discoveries from being revealed. Even more incriminating evidence comes from a reporter who communicated with Stone before she passed. The journalist verified that Stone intended to reveal a collection of papers that would uncover extensive financial wrongdoing. As per the reporter, Stone labeled her proof as groundbreaking for the industry, showing the importance of her discoveries. Certain specialists in financial fraud have highlighted a familiar pattern in Stone's case, suggesting a sequence of events commonly observed in deaths related to whistleblowers. The pattern typically involves intimidation, followed by isolation, and ultimately, elimination. This strategy has been noted in previous instances where people sought to expose corruption at the highest levels. Could Stone be just another casualty in a series of individuals who dared to speak up against influential perpetrators, only to be silenced? Many people are doubting the official story as the investigation unfolds. Even though officials have not accused anyone of wrongdoing, the evidence gathered so far implies that there may be hidden aspects to this situation. Was the demise of Angie Stone a result of an unfortunate mishap, or was it a deliberate attempt to suppress her voice by entities with immense influence? As long as the complete truth remains concealed, the uncertainty will persistently disturb those in search of answers. And to throw more light on the issues, the details of the crime scene were leaked, and what it entails does not look good. What was in the crime scene? Why was it only Stone that passed? Let's find out. At first, Angie Stone's death seemed like a tragic car accident. But as investigators dug deeper, strange details began to emerge. What should have been a simple case turned into something far more unsettling. Missing evidence, suspicious activity, and whispers of industry corruption have led many to wonder whether this was just an accident or if something more sinister was at play. The first red flag came when Stone's electronic devices vanished. Witnesses saw her with her phone and laptop earlier that day, yet when authorities arrived, both were missing. Rumors spread that these devices contained key documents exposing financial fraud in the music industry. Could someone have taken them to bury the truth? Then came an even more disturbing discovery. Stone's car had been hacked. A forensic team found that just 17 minutes before the crash, someone accessed the car's brake and stability control systems remotely. This was not the work of an amateur. Whoever did this had serious technical skills. But the biggest question remained. Who had the motive? Emergency responders were also puzzled. Paramedics were met with unusual restrictions on sharing details about the crash, something they had never encountered before, not even in high-profile cases. The strict secrecy suggested that powerful people wanted to control the story before too much information got out. More questions arose when investigators checked the car's data systems. Normally, modern vehicles store accident-related information. But in Stone's case, some of that data had been erased. This was not a glitch. Someone had deliberately wiped key evidence. Then came the autopsy results, and they only deepened the mystery. The injuries on Stone's body did not fully match what would be expected in a high-speed crash. A forensic expert suggested that she may have been unconscious before the accident. If true, this changes everything. Did she lose control of the car because she was already in distress? If so, what caused it? The crash site itself also raised suspicions. Authorities quickly sealed off the area, preventing independent experts from inspecting the wreckage. Witnesses reported that the damage to her car looked more like sabotage than an ordinary crash. And then there was the location, a road with no traffic cameras, no surveillance, and few witnesses. Was this just a coincidence, or was Stone deliberately led into a trap? Auto experts later confirmed that the brake failure in Stone's car was highly unlikely under normal conditions. Modern vehicles have multiple safety systems to prevent such failures. The only way they could stop working completely was if someone had to interfere. What happened next was even stranger. Just 2 days after her death, Stone's personal recording studio was cleared out. Her equipment, documents, and projects vanished overnight before police could even start a formal investigation. A security guard confirmed that the removal was well organized. Someone did not just take her things. They made sure no trace was left behind. The same thing happened online. Investigators found that Stone's social media accounts had been altered right after her death. Specifically, posts about financial corruption in the music industry were deleted. This was not random account maintenance. Someone erased only the posts that could connect her to a major scandal. With so many missing pieces, one thing is clear. Angie Stone's death was no ordinary accident. The missing devices, tampered car, erased footage, and disappearing evidence all point to a well-planned cover-up. But the biggest questions remain. Who had the most to gain by silencing her? How far were they willing to go to keep the truth hidden? Will we ever know what happened that night? Until those answers come to light, the mystery of Angie Stone's death will continue to haunt those who seek justice. Angie Stone was a successful figure in the music scene, known for her skills and impact. However, things took a turn when she started posing difficult inquiries. This drew attention from industry insiders, who then began shutting doors once open to her. Despite her ongoing achievements, she was left out of important gatherings, passed over for chances, and separated from the community she had a hand in building. This scenario was not new to some, as they had witnessed it happen before. The music business has a track record of shunning artists who question its financial practices, putting Stone in a risky position. During the inquiry into her demise, concerning links came to light between her situation and that of other artists who had encountered mysterious situations after raising concerns about financial dealings. Analysts who scrutinized market patterns highlighted disconcerting resemblances between Stone's ordeal and the tragedies of Whitney Houston and Bobby Christina. The trio had delved into financial discrepancies, experienced growing seclusion, and met untimely, sorrowful fates surrounded by unresolved queries. Veteran professionals in the industry shared troubling accounts of how the business prioritizes its financial well-being. An ex-music executive with years of expertise revealed that the industry has consistently utilized different tactics to silence dissenters. Certain artists encounter legal pressure, contract conflicts, or exclusion from opportunities. However, when significant amounts of money are on the line, indications suggest that even more drastic actions might be considered. The notion that artists who speak out about industry finances could be forcibly quieted created a stir in the courtroom. During the trial, there was a shocking revelation when prosecutors presented evidence connecting well-known industry figure Davis to a series of mysterious deaths. Financial specialists stated that individuals who used to work with Luther Vandross and Barry White had confronted Davis regarding irregularities in royalty payments before they passed away. Evidence indicated that both singers were gearing up for a legal battle, believing they had uncovered a pattern of financial misconduct. A person who used to work with Barry White came forward with a disturbing story. White had reportedly cautioned other musicians about his findings and had specifically contacted Luther Vandross to talk about his worries. However, before they could take any action, both men passed away. Their deaths, previously seen as isolated incidents, now appeared to be part of a bigger scheme where challenging the music industry's financial practices had serious consequences. Testimony from internal sources provided more evidence suggesting that Stone's death may not have been unintentional. Various experts in the field noted a common pattern: individuals in the arts community who spoke out against financial misconduct were frequently met with coercion, fear tactics, and eventually left abandoned by their usual sources of assistance. This repeated pattern of being ostracized professionally hindered these individuals' ability to defend themselves, rendering them defenseless. The legal case prompted individuals to reassess how the business functions in secret. Forensic accountants, lawyers, and former employees presented proof of a system that prioritizes self-preservation above all else. Tensions escalated in the courtroom as additional links between financial disagreements and early artist deaths were revealed. Previously disregarded as mere conspiracies, the theories gained credibility with mounting evidence. The consequences of this situation went further than the unfortunate death of a single artist. It highlighted urgent issues regarding the music industry's treatment of individuals who question its power. If Stone's demise was due to her attempts to uncover financial dishonesty, how many other artists had faced similar repercussions? And how many would continue to face them if there were no repercussions for those responsible? The music industry seems to run an unfair game, and yet people like Stone thrive. But there's more to this. Some links were exposed. What link was this? Who was involved? Let's find out in the next chapter. The trial had a surprising twist when proof emerged connecting Davis to Sean Combs. Investigators found encrypted messages indicating a long-standing bond between the two big names in the music industry. Data experts recovered messages showing a mentor-mentee relationship lasting for years. These communications discussed strategies for handling difficult artists and keeping loyalty within the music industry. An unsettling conversation took place shortly before Angie Stone passed away, hinting at the need to adhere to certain procedures in the situation. The language used implied the necessity to set a precedent to deter others from following the same path. Despite the defense downplaying these messages as ordinary conversations misunderstood, the timing and substance of the exchanges aroused significant doubts among those investigating. It became clear that there was more complexity to the incident than just a mere mishap. A security expert who was once acquainted with both individuals provided testimony regarding the strength of their bond. He recounted Davis as a prominent figure who mentored Combs extensively, sharing the tactics that helped him rule the business sector for many years. The legal team asserted that Davis might have instilled a tradition of dominance in Combs, instructing him on utilizing money, fear tactics, and industry connections to uphold authority. Many past colleagues who testified described Davis as an influential figure comparable to George Bush in the music world, a strategic leader who controlled its inner workings. According to evidence presented, Davis had cautioned Combs about being cautious and advised him to stop taking unnecessary risks. When Combs chose not to heed this warning and his behavior gained too much attention, Davis allegedly decided to no longer support him. This revelation, insiders claim, clarifies why Combs experienced legal issues suddenly after seemingly evading consequences for years. Digital forensics provided additional evidence to back up these statements. Professionals found that the communication between Davis and Combs, which had been ongoing for years, suddenly stopped right before Combs encountered legal issues. Upon reviewing the data, analysts observed that this abrupt end in communication seemed intentional, suggesting that someone was trying to distance themselves from an associate in order to steer clear of being linked to the legal problems. The timing of this cessation was too exact to be considered random, leading to more doubt about the level of their participation in the overall industry plot. The connection between Davis and Combs has brought attention to additional investigations. Some legal professionals speculate that if Davis was indeed the mastermind behind these strategies, then Combs might only be scratching the surface of legal troubles. With this new revelation, prosecutors might have a more defined path to uncovering a widespread web of corruption that has enabled financial wrongdoing and misuse of authority to flourish without hindrance for many years. After Davis was found guilty, there was a significant change. Many people who used to work with Combs but were too scared to say anything before started helping the authorities. Informants involved in the investigation shared that these individuals were giving important details that linked Davis and Combs to a larger group of industry professionals involved in unethical activities. By successfully convicting one of the most influential people, the intimidation that kept important witnesses silent seemed to be diminishing. The unfolding of the case is revealing significant consequences. The disclosures have not just led to inquiries about Stone's death but have also called into question the music industry's entire framework. How many other musicians have faced comparable tragedies? To what extent does this dishonesty extend? With the truth now exposed, will the industry now confront the consequences that many feel have been delayed for too long? The jury only took 7 hours of deliberation to reach a guilty verdict for Davis, showing that the evidence against him was very strong. Legal experts watching the trial were surprised by the quick decision in a well-known case, which highlighted the prosecution's strong argument. The defense had a hard time explaining the odd technical issues and their selective nature, which didn't create doubt in the jury's minds. As the trial came to an end, the judge highlighted that the ruling had implications beyond just the specific offense committed. The judge emphasized that this trial uncovered deeper problems within the entertainment business. It was not merely a sad event but rather an eye-opening revelation of how influential individuals can manipulate the lives and financial well-being of artists. The judge's decision to impose a harsh sentence was intended to send a message that those who abuse their authority in the industry will face consequences. The verdict had an instant effect. After the ruling, many artists came forward to talk about their encounters with intimidation and financial exploitation when they raised concerns about how the industry functions. They were optimistic that this decision would lead to a change in the way the entertainment business works. In the past, speaking out against financial practices could endanger a person's career, but this trial proved that even influential individuals could be made responsible for their actions. The public response to the decision was strong. Social media became a hub of conversations, involving admirers and experts from the field. Some felt a sense of relief that fairness had prevailed, whereas others wondered why it had taken so much time. Posts drawing parallels between Davis and other notorious figures in the industry, such as Epstein and Weinstein, spread rapidly online, receiving numerous shares and comments. The general feeling was unmistakable. This ruling validated suspicions that had long been harbored about the seedy side of the music industry. Numerous experts in the field cited Davis as an extremely influential figure, describing him as one of the most dominant individuals in the history of entertainment. Some asserted that he was responsible for launching the careers and unfortunately the untimely demise of various legendary artists. Speculation and theories of conspiracy circulated, with certain individuals suggesting that Davis had connections that stretched beyond the music industry, reaching into the domain of exclusive secretive groups that held considerable power and wealth. Regardless of the validity of these assertions, the large volume of people expressing them indicated a pervasive distrust of the power dynamics within the industry. Financial exploitation took center stage amidst the personal accusations. The trial exposed unsettling information on how specific artists were taken advantage of, with their royalties mishandled and their paths in the industry steered through underhanded agreements and legal loopholes. In a written statement, a former studio executive alleged that Davis might have not only sought out artists for their talent but also for the money they could potentially bring in. The revelation that influential figures in the entertainment industry were treating life insurance policies and royalties as financial tools painted a bleak picture of the business aspect of show business. The industry was rocked by the verdict. Some speculated whether this case would lead to additional probes into the enduring financial misconduct within the music realm. Were more business leaders going to be under scrutiny? Would more artists gain confidence to voice their concerns? There were concerns that influential figures in the industry would only adjust their strategies to safeguard their interests, while others were optimistic that this decision would spark necessary changes. After all the chaos had subsided, it became clear that this case uncovered not just the wrongdoing of one individual. It revealed the inner workings of an industry where influence, wealth, and concealment frequently determined the success or failure of artists. It was uncertain whether this event would result in any significant permanent transformations, but for the first time in a while, those who were once immune to scrutiny had now been exposed. The previously silenced voices were at last being acknowledged. Yet there could be more. More people who are experiencing what the industry does, the unfair game it hands. Let's dig up more. The music industry faces a challenging decision after the surprising judgment, prompting a thought-provoking question about the prevalence of untold stories similar to Angie Stone's. The recent court disclosures not only revealed instances of dishonesty but also suggested a broader network of manipulation that has been kept hidden for many years. If Stone's situation was not an anomaly, what other undisclosed injustices could potentially be exposed in the future? Federal investigators, feeling encouraged by the results of the trial, have allegedly broadened their investigation. Some prominent figures in the industry who have connections to both Davis and Combs are now being looked into. The previously disregarded links between them are now being re-examined from a new angle. The evidence presented in court has given prosecutors a clear path to challenge previously formidable structures. If this is just the beginning, the industry could be facing an unprecedented reckoning. For many years, incidents of artists experiencing unexpected hardships after raising concerns about financial methods were dismissed as mere chance. However, the information revealed in this instance indicates otherwise. A troubling trend has surfaced, one in which individuals seeking openness often end up alone, muted, or in even graver circumstances. It remains to be seen whether this decision will inspire additional artists to share their personal stories or if anxiety will persist in silencing them. The power dynamics are already starting to change due to this case. Music industry leaders, who were previously untouchable, are now potentially liable for their actions. Analysts believe this could initiate a new era of responsibility. As more cases come forward against influential individuals, there may be a shift in how the industry operates. Will artists demand more financial openness now that legal action is on the table? Is this a turning point for the treatment of artists in the industry? Nevertheless, the main concern still lingers: was Angie Stone the sole target of such injustices? Considering the trend exposed during this court case, it seems improbable that her situation was an isolated incident. The identities of additional musicians who faced comparable hardships are currently circulating within legal communities. Could law enforcement agencies decide to revisit prior cases? If individuals in positions of authority could have gone to great extremes to suppress a single artist, one can only wonder what actions they took against others who defied them. This case has had a ripple effect beyond the legal system, sparking discussions in the public about the shady aspects of the music industry that can't be overlooked anymore. Social media is now a platform where fans, reporters, and music professionals are calling for explanations. While Davis's conviction was significant, the issues it brought up still remain unresolved. Angie Stone may have left this world too soon, but her impact will be long-lasting. Beyond her musical talents, she was a pioneer who motivated many artists with her heartfelt singing and courageous honesty. While going against the norms in the music industry may have brought her criticism, it also solidified her reputation as a champion for fairness. Her music will keep echoing, serving as a constant reminder of the exceptional talent she infused into her songs. Those who cherished and idolized her will work hard to preserve her legacy. In a time when the industry is reflecting on its past actions, her journey stands as a story of lessons learned and a source of inspiration for transformation. Although her family is still in mourning, they have requested privacy while also committing to keeping her story alive. Even though Angie Stone is no longer with us, her legacy remains present in every song she sang and in the quest for justice that her case has initiated. Although the world has lost a remarkable individual, the influence she left behind will resonate for years to come. The essential question that lingers is whether the industry is capable of real transformation, or if it will persist in concealing its truths. The future holds the answer. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe and also click the next video shown on your screen.